Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of 12 Monkeys. So this is a very interesting episode where we had the group going to, well, at the beginning we find out, because I finally know their names now, they're the messengers, because like last time I couldn't think of their names, the blue guys who went back in time, they're the messengers. It would surprise me is how quickly they're able to assimilate to their situations. Like they went back in time to 1944, killed those two people and replaced them, and they just kind of made a wisecrack. He was like, oh yeah, sorry about us being late, it was my wife, blah 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 blah. It's like, it's kind of interesting that they were able to assimilate so quickly like that. I guess, because in my mind it's just like they're blue people, and it's like, oh yeah, they're not that well, prepared for a situation like that. But it's like, no, they've been trained to quickly, they've been trained very well to just be able to adapt to every situation, because they are kind of quote unquote trained assassins in a sense, I guess. So I guess, it's ingrained in them to be able to, like, oh yeah, this is how everything goes. Like, okay, we quickly it's like, okay, this is what the situation is, this is what's going on around us. Or they've probably had everything prepared long before they got to the machine, or like, before they even found the facility, they were told, like, okay, when you go back to time, do this, and this, act like this, blah blah blah. Like I said, but more likely it's training. But we have Cassie and Cole going back to 1944 to track down because they're not 100% sure. They're like, why are the messengers back in that time? It's like, does that really have anything to do with the virus? Because as we know, the virus currently only goes as far back as 1987. And something very interesting, like something that popped in my mind, I'm going to talk about it since I'm talking about the virus. I've always wondered in some shape or form, what if like it was Cole's body that's the virus? Because they kind of brought it this episode that Cole is very special and he just doesn't know it. What if the body the virus is derived from is actually his body? Because, but granted, it'd be like, why would it be in his body specifically? Because like he's immune to the virus. But that, I guess, because if you're immune to it, you wouldn't even think it even enter your system. But maybe it's in his system, but his body's fighting it off. I don't know. It's like, because the messenger did say, like, oh, Cole just doesn't know how special he is or how important he is to everything. And I can only, like, that's something that popped in my mind, like, because I was recently rewatching season 1, because they were marathoning it before, of course, like a week before season 2 started. But it came across my mind, it's like, what if that body, the one that, God, what's Jennifer's dad's name? Leland. That the body that Leland got back in 1987 was actually Cole's body, and you just, it's so ravaged and decayed that you don't know that. But like I said, moving on, that's just something that kind of popped up in my mind. But it's some very interesting things. Like, I like the fact is that when they went to 1944, the fact is they went there at different points in time. They were told ahead of time that they would, so there's no telling like how far apart they'd be when they get there. I love the fact is when Cassie gets there, Cole has been there for 2 months, and she's like, you like it here, don't you? He's like, what's not to like? But she gets pissed about it. She's like, we're here on a mission. Because Cole's like, oh, this is my wife, Cassie Cole, because he's like, oh, in this time period, only people who are married can, men and women who are married can share rooms, so. I did like that. Granted, she got him back later on because he was about to he introduces her as Cassie Cole, and she quickly introduces like his sister. It's like she doesn't even want to imagine the thought of him being like, her pretend husband. It's just like, because their relationship has gotten very strenuous because of just, everything happening. They're not nearly the team that they were in season 1. Like multiple examples of that. There was the fight between Deacon and Cole earlier in the episode. I really like that. The fact is, like, anytime Cole would land a blow or do something, Ramsey beat her. He'd be like, yeah, get him, Cole, yeah. And then, like, Deacon gets the upper hand. He's like, oh, come on, Cole. I was like, because I started getting into it. Yeah, every time Ramsey was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, get him, Cole. I was like, yeah. I was tagging along with it. And then Cassie comes and she's like, what the hell is going on? Cole essentially stopped Deacon from beating on Ramsey. He's like, I thought this crap was done, but it's, like I said, everyone's still got their problems with Ramsey because of what he did. Cole is literally the only person that's forgiven him for what happened, because it's like, he can understand why he did it. And, even though he did what he did, he's still working with them. He's told him everything he knows, but they're like, they don't believe him. And then we had the fact that, something kind of came up. It's just like, it makes me think, like, is there a bit of a thing between Deacon and Cassie? It kind of seems like they might be you know, an item type of thing. Maybe not necessarily an item, but at least the very least, they might be heading that way, because he's just like, you be careful, and she's like, you be good. It's just the way they talk about to each other and stuff like that. Because it's like, because even Deacon talks about the fact is that Cassie has great potential. She's like, because essentially he's the one that trained Cole to be kind of the badass that he is now. So it's like, he's like, I trained Cassie even more, and it's like, she shows even more promise than you did. So it kind of came up in the episode because, he was kind of like, Cole was talking about Jennifer, and he's kind of like, why don't she's like, I know you don't like Jennifer. She's like, you think that's what this is about? Cole essentially is like, killing people doesn't do anything. We've kind of established that. I've killed a lot of people, because she was constantly getting on him, because it's like, you're so not fixated on it being a mission. Because like I said, he spent the 2 months there. Granted, he got everything prepared, but he was still treating it like a vacation. She even got to the point she ripped up the picture that led them to 1944. Granted, she used the excuse saying like, yeah, you don't want to create a paradox, but it's also because she didn't like him kind of holding on to it like that. But she brings up the fact is that Aaron died. She's like, you killed Aaron. And he's like, Aaron was betrayed. Aaron wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't what I wanted to happen. But Aaron betrayed us. She's like, Aaron tried to protect me. And he's like, do you think I don't regret, not know that I ruined a lot of stuff in your life, that a lot of things changed for you because of me? He's like, I'm not so stupid as to think that didn't happen. And then she kind of quiets down, because it's like, I don't think she meant to like hurt him per se, but she's like, to her, it's like, we've got a mission, it's just, like I said, it's kind of sad. Cassie's changed so much because of Cole coming in her life, but specifically that, what was it, like 8 months she spent in the future, like she just changed so much that she kind of sadly became more like old Cole. But also it seems like not even just old Cole, because even old Cole kind of had his way where he was just kind of like, I feel like, I don't know, more so than anything, she seems like she's taken more after Deacon, which is not a good thing in my opinion. But essentially what they ended up finding out is that the messengers are back in time looking for specifically some guy. Because it's interesting enough, too, they're killing people the same way as, I forgot his name. He's the guy who kills people and he leaves lavender and flowers around. Like, they kill people in a very similar way. I mean, granted, like, they turn it into kind of a ritual. It's kind of his ritual, too. So I'm guessing, did he raise them and train them or something like that for them to adapt that, or is that something that was passed down to the messengers? I don't know. But essentially they were looking for someone. Specifically, it was this boy named Tommy, who's exactly like Jennifer. The term that's used is primary, like a primary number, is what they are known as. Essentially, there are people who are connected to time, and it was kind of explained like what their whole purpose is, and like the reason why they wanted Tommy dead. He's like, because it's what's inside here. What I can only assume is that they kind of sort of keep some kind of balance to time, like time, kind of like what happens in time, kind of all that information is being jumbled around inside their head, all the different voices and the things they know, because they know things that they shouldn't know about about the future. Like the fact is that Cole went back in time, knowing who Cassie is, knowing about the Red Forest, is stuff like they should know, even knowing about the 12 monkeys, even that far back, that's something they shouldn't have knowledge about, but it's because that kid Tommy had all that information inside of his. So like, I like to think maybe it's because in some shape or form, they kind of keep the balance of time is what their main purpose is. I don't know. That's just how I'm currently interpreting, which interestingly enough, I can't remember the actor's name, but the actor who plays Tommy, interestingly enough, played Alex on another sci-fi show called Continuum. So I just thought it was very interesting that he was on another time travel show. It is something that popped in my mind when I first saw him. But because at first they killed his dad, but they ended up getting the wrong person. Essentially, they ended up killing the kid because basically he let himself die because he knew he was gonna. He's like, I'm gonna die on this day. Cassie wanted to make sure he didn't, but it wasn't gonna be like that. And so what they did is they ended up killing him with a bone that they dug up of him from the future. So it ended up creating a paradox, which I'm not sure I 100% understand. I mean, I guess has a point not understanding what they're doing, but it's like they're going after primaries and killing them with paradoxes. I mean, they're meant to kill them in a way that creates a paradox. It does some. Well, what it ended up doing was turning the forest in the future red, and which interestingly enough, because it was Deacon and a random guy and Ramsey out there, and the forest started turning red after Tommy was killed in a paradox type way, and the forest started turning red, and one of the guys got hit by the red atmosphere hitting the forest, and it just seemed like you can kind of see flashes of his skeleton and just his skin and everything. Personally, I'm thinking the red, like those whatever that is it basically makes all of time happen for you at once. So it basically kills you, but it's making time happen all at once and kind of messing you up like that. I mean, that's how I interpret that. To me, I like to think, what if that's what the purpose of the Red Forest is? Maybe that's what the Red Forest is, a place where time happens all at once. I don't know, because it's like, I'm trying to understand what that really is, what it means when leaves turn from green to red. It seems it is connected to different changes in time. I mean, granted, it's something obviously we found out in the first season how that happens is from paradoxes. Ramsey kind of showed us that in season 1, but it's like, I'm trying to understand what that really means, like from it turning green to red. I don't know. Granted, I did like the fact is that he brought Deacon back. He was kind of leading Deacon out of the forest, kind of where we ended at the episode. But I thought it was kind of interesting because we had Jones, like essentially, they let him see his son one last time because his son Samuel, and his son brought it up. He's like, "Where were you, Dad?" He's like, "I was off doing something for you." He's like, "Are you locked up here because you was doing something bad?" He's like, "Who told you that?" He's just he didn't really give an answer. He's like essentially trying to let his son know that everything he's done for him. He was trying to, do something for him. And then Jones comes to him and says, like, basically things can't stay the way they are. Because essentially it's kind of causing a rift between everything, because it's like she's trying to do the mission, but she has Cole at the same time trying his best to protect Ramsey, which she doesn't like. She's like, he jeopardized everything. He went back in time and ended up creating a virus that ended up wiping out all the people that she cares about because he wanted to hold on to a son that he didn't even know about. But then, Ramsey does the obvious thing and points out the hypocrisy that, we all know. This is like, you created time travel because you wanted to save your little girl. She's like, yes, but me saving my little girl aligned with me saving thousands of people. You saving your son means that you're willing to let tons and tons of people die. So she's just like, she's like, I couldn't get behind that. So essentially she wanted to kill him. And he's like, what do you think Cole will say about this? She's like, essentially she was kind of like, I'll tell Mr. Cole that I just couldn't control the situation. That's like, wow. Like, Jones is very cold-hearted. It's like, it's kind of interesting. Like, it's kind of sad, but it seems like the most humanized people in the future, the most human people are kind of Cole and Ramsey. Everyone else has kind of got a dark heart now. Even Cassie, been in that. I guess once you're exposed to that world, you just can't back away from it. But I just like, to me, that is just the biggest hypocrisy. It's like, yes, Ramsey messed up and did that bad stuff, but it's like, dude, if Cole, out of anyone, can forgive him, I mean, the fact is Cole went back and made sure that he survived, so that, that's like, that in itself is proof that, you should not. I mean, especially considering the fact is Ramsey tried to kill him back in 1987, stabbed him and tried to leave him for dead. So it's kind of like, if Cole can forgive him, you can all forgive him too. But granted, she was affected very immensely by what Ramsey did, because she lost a lot of people, important people to her because of him. So, it's more of a personal thing for her. But granted, him trying to kill Cole, it's kind of a personal thing for Cole too. So. But like I said, it's just one of those, it's kind of a weird gray area situation, because it's like, yeah, Ramsey did some messed up stuff, but it's like, he's trying to be a father and you can't really blame him for that. I mean, granted, I guess you can, but So what it seems like is we have Cammy, I don't know why I said Cammy, Cassie, because I think it was because I was thinking of a different show. I'm pretty sure you can guess what show I was thinking of. But nevertheless, we have Cassie and Cole possibly being stuck in 1944. They are, probably being arrested by the authorities because they're believed to be the killers in this situation. Granted, the messenger is over there; she's knocked out too. So he did tell Cole something very interesting. He was basically like, essentially telling Cole that without in not as in many words, but saying that just because something bad happens doesn't mean it's a loss. Don't even if it's a loss, that doesn't mean you should give up. Essentially saying like, when I die, that doesn't mean you failed. Just keep going. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Because essentially, it seems like eventually Jennifer will be one of their targets too, because she's a primary like him. She has some kind of connection to time itself. Like, I'll be kind of interested to see what their purpose is. Why is it that they are connected to time? What are they meant to do? What is it the messengers want? Like, are they going to I mean, that's the thing though. How are they going to get to Jennifer anyway? Because they can't. How would they kill her by paradox? Because in the future she's not dead. She's still alive and well, and she's the leader of the daughters. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Not unless they kill her and take one of her bones. Like, I don't know. Not unless they take a personal item of hers from the future and bring it back or something. I don't know. I did wonder why it seemed like Jennifer was kind of the main focus. From the previews, it seemed like Jennifer was going to be like a pretty big focus of this season, and I guess that's why, because I guess she's kind of going to be one of the next targets. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where things go. I mean, like I said, Cassie and Cole are kind of stuck in 1944 because they're what Jones and them kind of used to keep a lock on their signatures. They kind of lost it, so they're kind of stuck in a past for this point in time. So, like I said, they're kind of being looked upon as suspects in the murder. So, guess we won't really find out what happens with everything, especially the whole Red Forest situation in 2044 until possibly next episode. But that's really all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.